is interesting because it's just like the game didn't get to the point where Tristana would be a problem, right? Tristana had push early. Sure, Kennen can have impact in team fights, but the Tristana did hit that point once he had BT and Null Magic where you would never really be able to contest inside. So it's interesting to see them go back to this. I do think G2 are just going to full send it on a team fight-based comp. If you are going to be early picking this, Xayah Rakan would make sense. Yeah, Xayah Rakan does make a lot of sense here. You have Engage. You can use that Kennen as the follow-up. It is Nidalee and Ksante on the other side, so a lot of early game power here being grabbed by Peanut and one of the soul laners. We don't know exactly where the Ksante is going to go yet.
I want to make sure they can get an AD carry for Peyz, one of his comforts. You look at some of his most played, and Zeri is definitely up there alongside the Aphelios, so it makes a lot of sense. Of course, Peanut has a very long career, and Nidalee, throughout his career, has been one of his go-to champions, so no stranger to that pick. Of course, now the jungle starts being the focus, and the Kha'Zix respect going towards Yike. Of course, Yike has been able to find small advantages in these games, but largely muted because of how problematic the solo lanes have been for G2. We haven't really seen Caps unlocked on the map. Game 1, he got shut down by Chovy. Game 2 was the bot lane that collapsed. So Peanut still wanting to respect the possibility of Yike getting a comfort pick and something that he can have agency on that can potentially carry.
I think as much as we talked about Peyz being in his rookie year and in his first international tournament, you have to remember Yike's in the same boat. Like, yes, he has won winter. He's had a few more games here in 2023, but he is still new to the international stage. And I think we've seen him get early leads and not really know how to translate them. Part of that is Gen.G doing really well at shutting him down, but part of that also could be the fact you are in your first international tournament against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of pressure going up against these guys, and he's going up against Peanut, who is such a veteran. You know, we talked about it on the desk. He's been around forever. You know, came onto the scene very, very early on, and has really stayed at that top level for a lot of years now across a number of different rosters.
Ooh. Rell is something in Europe we saw a lot from Hylissang. Just a hover right now, of course, but support lock-in would make a lot of sense, and that's what they'll go for. So a little bit more engaged from the side of Delight. Speaking to Chronicler, he was telling me a lot about how that is Delight's preferred playstyle, those engaged style supports. His Rakan was very impressive when we saw it in the finals, and I'm very confident that his Rell will be just as present as his Blitzcrank was in Game 2.
It's his first Rell of this year as well, though. It does, of course, give you a huge teamfight threat. That Magnet Storm can do a lot of work as you get later into the game and stopping the Kennen getting onto your backline. But as you say, Poppy jungle locked in here for Yike alongside the Annie. That's going to go back to Caps in the mid lane.
Yes, this is really interesting. We have 5th pick counter pick here for Chovy. We want to see exactly what he's going to do. Of course, that could be the Ksante flex mid, but you know, I am interested to see what the answer is going to be. You know, if they wanted to, they could go just on top again. Sion was actually banned out in second phase last game. They banned double tanks away from Doran. This would be like very much a Zeri 1v9 style game as far as the damage profile is concerned, but I don't think you're worried about that with how well Peyz has been playing. It is going to be the Malphite. This can be a pretty decent matchup into it. You know, I want to see exactly where he's going to take it. I'm expecting Comet. I'm expecting an early Catalyst. You can go Abyssal. If he's really not concerned, you can just continue to just kind of build armor and go for Sunfire and stuff like that. But I think you do want to pay some respect, especially given that it's double AP soul laners.
Chovy, the original Ksante mid player. Against Annie, I think that you have a lot of safety and security. You can invest in early Merc Treads. You also have the ability to mitigate that stun entirely by utilizing the skill that can't be interrupted. And then you have so much engage, which I think is the biggest difference from G2's position, right? You have the Rell to start fights, you have the Malphite. Regardless, either one can follow up on that initial engage. Ksante, the...
For engaging, G2 are very much on the back foot in that situation, which gives Peyz a lot more time to ramp up on the Zeri, which is what Zeri does so well in these fights.
I will say, Merc Treads are insanely high value for honestly kind of both sides, but even more so for G2, because it's actually a lot of magic damage that comes out of Zeri. You know, it is mixed, but it is 30-40% of the damage is about magic. It is a fair bit on that top side as well. You know, of course, Chovy can do physical damage, but it's not exactly like you're that big powerhouse who's going to be putting out a tremendous amount of physical damage. So we'll see, you know, if Yike can really get to that point with something like a Force of Nature, you know, which could be very difficult to get through.
Vedi, do you want my other really small win for EMEA?
I love your small win.
Chovy hasn't died on Ksante in the 3 games he's played it. If we kill him, he hasn't died at all, ever on the Ksante. If we kill him, record breakers.
World first.
World first.
World first.
Race to world first is going on right now. These guys.
He does look like a raid boss.
Exactly.
Exactly. Certainly does.
Obviously, small mercies as you see. the grasp for the Ksante in the mid lane. Caps running first strike once again. G2 trying to work their way down towards this bottom lane. We'll use the sweeper to make sure there's no vision there, but Delight and Peyz, it looks like they'll be helping Peanut on this first clip.
I actually like this. This is interesting. So mostly people against this Kennen matchup do go Comet, but the reason you can go Airy here is good Kennens can actually E-start, and as soon as you throw the Q, they E and they go backwards, and your combo will always miss. So you can actually dodge out those comments very, very effectively. So it's a nice little bit of matchup tech here. You know, Airy obviously guaranteed to connect. Can G2 find an advantage here at level 1?
Looks like they don't want to gamble it.
They got the first minion though, so that's
They did.
It's a dub. We take those. Put them on the board.
Both the junglers starting on the bot side of the map, pathing towards top. I wonder if Yike will actually do a full clear bot side into looking for some opportunity bot lane, but I expect Peanut to mainly just prioritize on himself. Leverage his pushing lanes to try and steal away some camps from Yike. Of course, the steadfast presence, very annoying for champions with the dashes, which there are a decent number of them from Gen.G. This could be one of the biggest difference makers when it comes to the later fights, how Yike can disrupt and disengage some of the very, I would say, linear engage tools that Gen.G have for themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, Poppy is really that X factor. If you can get a great ultimate, you can really change the course of those fights. If you knock someone out, like Chovy, like Peanut, you know, turn that into an odd number fight, potentially can make something happen.
I will say, like, you talked about the Xayah ultimate as well.
Flash away from Peyz.
Both
Good
sums.
move from Hans Summer, as you say. Cleanse flash. And for the first time this series, Hans Summer and Miky starting to win out that bot 1v1. Yike now looking up, 2v2. Yike looking up towards this top side. Doran does have the flash. You can't really escape. Knocked into the wall. Steadfast presence goes down. They look to burst him. First blood, G2. Yike escapes, but the minions will take him out in the end. He's executed. Peanut coming in from the side as well. The spear goes wide, just clipping the heels of Broken Blade, and the TP invested by Doran.
This is one of the weaknesses of Malphite. You know, it's one of the things you'll always hear from top laners. And Bro, he could look for a Q3 flash if he wants, but not going to go for it. Those take that advantage, but the early levels on Malphite are very, very vulnerable. You can't contest the wave in these kind of matchups, so it's very easy for your opponents to stack. Peanut was not there to actually cover the dive, and they do make it happen. They get first blood onto Broken Blade, who's starting with a cull. It's going to be an XP disadvantage as well there from Doran, who misses some of those minions. Of course, he could TP back and collect the rest.
But Chovy playing the mid lane matchup so well. See how he mitigates the stun, forces caps underneath this tower, and this means that there's no assistance on the blue buff.
Peanut was unspotted.
Peanut
works his way around here. The smite comes down. Yike did get it. Peanut looking for the chase here, of course, because Yike skipped blue to get that top gank off. Peanut knew he had an opportunity to try and invade and steal that away.
This is very much what we expected from Peanut, leveraging his pushing lanes, knowing that Yike needs to reset. Broken Blade can't assist. Caps has to go back to base. This gives Peanut a window to steal away some of these camps as we see more fighting in the bot lane.
Delight knocked up, does still have the flash, has the ignite. Hans Summer puts down the feathers, pulls them back for the root. Delight's going to jump away. The Ferromancer's shield helping him out a little bit as Peyz bone plating is propped, but in the end, the Gen.G bot lane are able to walk away, only mildly scathed. They will be kept away from the wave, though.
Well, as we saw in Game 1, when Hans Summer and Miky did have the stronger 2v2, they were able to find those 2v2 kills. And we're seeing it again here in Game 3, where they are really the ones dictating the pace. Peyz will be forced back to base, needs to get a little bit of health back and spend some of that money. But Peanut has found a window to look for something bot lane. I don't think they're going to force anything, though, given that wave is pretty big. Peanut just going to instead look to steal away some of these camps.
Yeah, we can see this one more time. Doran's still only level 2. You know, not really a lot you can do to outplay here. You can try to early flash away from the wall, but honestly, I don't even think it really makes a difference there. And Yike, unfortunately, didn't pick up his passive shield. That's actually what killed him. He missed the passive shield walking out there, so the minions do finish him off. You can see he realized his error, tried to run back to it. But just a slight misstep on how he passed out there, he should have survived. And that did put him pretty behind, because you can see Peanut, it's actually up at least 3 camps now.
Admittedly, but if he chooses to flash there, he's probably pretty aware that Peanut's hovering around the top side of the map, so he may have even conceded a kill. But dying to the turret, obviously, while not ideal, I think in a weird way ended up working out in his favor, even though he does end up losing a couple of camps as a result.
Wave not in the best of places for a G2 dive as of yet. That cannon wave pushing in means that Yike will just get the control ward on the Krugs, and now Peanut's going to try and answer. He'll be spotted as he starts up his rock buddies.
But Yike was spotted as well. You can see the question marks from Gen.G, so they know he's around. Peanut moves up top, is going to cover, and this is more time, again, spent by Yike. He goes up, he tries to threaten that dive. Now he's going to be spotted around mid. He has no camps on top side, right? He's actually falling quite behind where Peanut is. Peanut has 3 camps up plus bot scuttle right now. He took away the bot side Krugs. There's nothing for Yike to do. And because of this, it's really easy for Gen.G to just play safe and just respect the fact that these ganks could come in. Keep your wards down. Don't give any advantages because they are running away with that jungle matchup.
Chovy going to use this window to get a bit of deep vision. We'll drop it on Yike's Raptors. He's actually moving into the fog of war. G2 should be aware of this. But Hansama and Miky continuing to get the push. The wave is in a very awkward spot where they really could do with a bit of cover, but Yike, in terms of his pathing, not ideal, as you already mentioned, Azael. That jungle matchup very quickly snowballing in favor of Peanut, as Yike hasn't got farm for a while now, and Peanut going to tick over to level 6.
And you can see Peanut, even going in, taking this scuttle away first. He wants to move in potentially for the Raptors respawn, and not going to do it just yet, so we'll retreat back towards his blue buff. But he is prioritizing any contested camp before that of his own, moves into his opponent's jungle, takes away a camp, and when there's nothing aggressive to do, then he goes back to his side of the map and farms it up. And this is the way you want to play when you are playing these carnivore-style junglers that have got to be in the face of your opponent. You know you have the early advantage, and he's making the most of it, nearly doubling the camps taken of his opponent.
Almost 6 camps ahead as he gets over that 57 CS mark. It is his 4th most played of all time as well. 54 games on the Nidalee, and even though I think these days wouldn't see Peanut too much as a Nidalee player, more of a utility shot caller for the team, he can still bring it out in games like this as the dash comes out from Peyz. He escapes with the cleanse, manages to survive, but Hansama and Miky didn't even burn anything to get that pressure down. The zombie ward will spot Peanut. Hansama continues to step up, has that Feather Storm, and Peyz and Delight will just disengage.
Hansama ticking over to level 6 is likely the reason why Gen.G didn't want to commit to any action, even though Peanut was there. Of course, the ultimate is so powerful in these early skirmishes. Hansama very close to a plate, and now Yike covering around the bot side of the map. The problem that G2 have...
They want to dive.
Well, the thing is, you look at mid lane and you can see Chovy continues to push Caps underneath the tower. The fact that Caps can't get out on the map, and the fact that Chovy's even able to secure himself a plate, makes it much harder for G2 to invest in any early dive, and for the time being, G2 are just going to have to be happy with the 2v2 advantages that they're finding for themselves. I
mean, it's really good. They're up 500 gold down on that bottom side. They do have a 600 gold lead overall in the game, so this is, by far the best position I feel like G2 have been in. They created some slight advantages in the first game, but that was with like a full-on early game comp where you're like, you have to be way ahead. They have good scaling in this composition. They could absolutely win 5v5s if they can execute. So I think this is the best showing we've seen from G2 so far.
I'd agree with you there. They also have comfort, right? Miky is on this Rakan, well known for it in Europe, and we know that he can have impact as the game goes on. For the moment, though, Rift Herald was secured by Peanut. Yike looked for something up towards the top side, but once again, Gen.G, their vision control is always in the right place at the right time. It's not superfluous. They don't invest too much vision in a place. They just have a singular ward here and there to spot anyone out. Unstoppable Force used by Doran to get away, but he's going to sack a bit of this wave. You can see Delight and Peanut have moved up together here to try and protect Doran underneath this tower.
Yeah, I love the early defensive ult there from Doran. We'll see if they can make anything happen.
Early. There's the knock-up for the Q3 back into the all-out, pulls Miky all the way out. The quickness used by Miky to escape. Chovy dashes back forward with the flash caps, low on mana. Q3 once again hits Miky. The Tibbers for the stun though! And Miky sneaks his way away!
Oh, what a kill there from G2, but on top side, Broken Blade, no ult, no flash. You are dead, sir.
No way for him to get out of this one. Tries to put the damage back down onto Doran, but Peanut will swipe him away.
I mean, Chovy played that so well. You could tell, though, he was feeling himself. He wanted more. He didn't want to just get away. Wanted to chase him for that kill. And Caps still had the Tippers available. And when you are in that all-out and the ulti is still available, you can get burst down. You're going to be so squishy at that point.
Peanut now making his way into mid, though. Looks like he's not going to convert this into much.
Yike just flashes the wall. Doran tanks the tower. Doran's going to execute. Doran's going to execute. The ward in the bush means that Doran does not fall. He gets the execution as our screens pause for a second.
Yeah. We can look at the in-game spectator client.
We're back. We're back.
Oh, or are we?
Perhaps not. Yep. Doran's just, Chovy's just pushing in the mid lane as Caps is getting caught. Meanwhile, in the bottom side of the map, Hansama and Miky doing what they can. Another plate will go over to the Gen.G mid laner. Honors even in terms of gold, as Peanut and Delight are going to team up here to secure the first dragon of the game. G2 are walking their way across, maybe looking for a contest. Yike is being kept at bay by Chovy, though, and Delight and Peanut giving a bit of respect here, but Miky and Hansama having none of it. In a bit of a sticky situation. If they keep pressing forward, they'll do it. And because Broken Blade also TP'd into the mid lane, G2 actually gain control of the Dragon.
Yeah, this should be theirs for sure. You know, Yike is here now. Doran's up towards topside, so you might lose a plate or two topside, but they are going to be able to grab this Dragon for themselves, which is very, very nice. You know, trying to establish something from that bot lane control that they have. They have the better buy here on Hans. They've been consistently forcing out the cooldowns from Peyz. Miky and Hans really having a great game in this one in that 2v2. So are going to be able to keep it close in gold. They have a Dragon. We're in a very even game state. We have to say, Chovy has just been doing very well in this lane, in this 1v1, constantly keeping the push going on this Annie, using his Demolish non-stop. You know, almost has his third plate proc, and that's all solo. You know, he's been procking that Demolish over and over and over. Has done about 1,000 damage already to the tower with it.
Chovy not taking the tower, it's just to clear out the wave. He will be able to back away. We did get Chovy's first ever death on the Ksante. True. So G2 winning in some ways. And also, it would be 11 minutes from here, Gen.G winning for the fastest ever best of 5. We'll keep track of that, obviously.
I think we're safe.
You will see. You never know with G2. And with how Gen.G have been playing, Chovy going forward, looking for the in-topo strikes. Cap's able to dodge to the side of it. The Rift held, put down in the mid lane. Yeet it, Yike. Woo! All the way back to the tier 2. As Yike helicopters it away from the battle for now. Mickey's coming across. Of course, the Rift held will work her way back towards this turret and still get the charge in. So really just delaying the inevitable here by G2. Shelly charges, the turret plates fall, and only one tower plate remains in the mid lane.
So when we kind of take stock of the game, Gen.G still have a healthy advantage. The top lane matchup slowly starting to swing in favor of Doran as Peanut now threatened to dive.
Broken Blade, no flash, and the spear hits, and Peanut hungrily looking for it, chucks another spear into the back of Broken Blade and sends him to the fountain.
Yeah, Doran just used the ult aggressively there to try to get that chunk, put him really, really low, didn't actually need to wait till he's under the tower, gets him low, and not being able to dodge it on that spear meant it was lights out here as Peanut's now going to be wrapping around mid on Caps.
So much speed from Peanut through this jungle, constantly putting pressure on, goes top, comes mid, a turret secured in the mid lane as well, all 5 tower plates over to Gen.G, and even though G2 did have a solid start in this game, it's Gen.G who are wresting control out of their hands with the all out as Chovy dives forward, the flash away from Caps to keep himself alive.
It's just crazy how ruthless Peanut is being on the map right now. He has just such a great awareness of what he can and cannot do. And you think about the amount of pressure that Gen.G are exploiting across the board. That gold was dead even a second ago, and now it's ballooned into a 2k gold gap. And a lot of this stems from the fact that earlier in top lane, Broken Blade committed a flash to try and find a pick onto Doran, who only committed his ultimate to escape. And off the back of that flash, Peanut was able to find a top lane kill, a couple of picks, a number of tower plates, and now the game is very quickly snowballing out of control. 9 turret plates in favor of Gen.G to the 3 of G2, even though G2 have had bot lane, well, have had control, I would say, throughout the lane phase. Look at the advantages that have been gained compared to what Gen.G have gotten elsewhere on the map.
That said, it is still just, under 2k gold lead here, so it's not insurmountable by any means. G2 do have that early Dragon. We'll see if they want to continue pushing towards that. The entire gold lead really is just Peanut, right? So, Nidalee doesn't always translate her leads as well as some of the other junglers. Yike, yes, he is behind, but you do have so much utility on this Poppy. If you can have a really good W, interrupt someone on a dash, knock someone out of the fight, it's definitely winnable.
Flash, knock up into the wall with the cleanse, jump away. Well played by Peyz, escapes the gank.
Incredible reaction time there from Peyz. Doesn't flash, reacts calmly, just pops the cleanse into the E over the wall, and he's able to get away to safety. Yike, of course, did commit the flash, and now Delight using this window to get a lot of deep vision on the top side of the map, and this is one of the big advantages of unlocking that mid-tier 1 and helping Doran get through what was a rough laning phase. He's now in a very healthy spot, consistently trading well into Broken Blade, and he's going to be able to secure another tower for Gen.G.
Yeah, and didn't feel like he needed to actually itemize for the matchup at all. He did go for Mercs, but he's just going straight into Sunfire. Nothing like an Abyssal. And we'll see. G2 moving up towards this top side. Looks like they want to challenge for the Herald. Chovy's staying down on bot. He does have his TP available, so we'll see if Gen.G want to fight this, or if they're content to just give it over and try to farm some damage on that bot side turret.
Mythics across the board right now. Only Yike
there you go.
Doesn't have it. The TP used, as you say. Peanut looking for the chase. Hans Summer and Miky there to back up their jungler. Riftherald will reset. Caps and Broken Blade can come across as well. In the end, Gen.G invest the teleport. G2 get out. Delight waiting in an unwarded bush. G2 can fight this, but I don't think they want to. Broken Blade's gone back to the top lane. Miky just standing close by. Toku strikes will hit onto Yike, but in the end, the Rift Herald actually just running out of patience a little bit as it was chasing Doran across, but Gen.G should secure it. Next fight will be around the Dragon, you have to feel, in 4 seconds' time. It's a 4,000 gold lead for Gen.G, though, as they continue to extend their advantage.
I mean, Gen.G have the luxury of being able to just drop the Herald in mid now, create this extra point of pressure, force G2 out of the river, and as spectators to the objective, they have no real control around the bot side. It's Gen.G that continue to dictate the pace of the game.
No deep wards as well for G2, so Broken Blade has to TP to the mid lane tower. Mickey going in, but Broken Blade is not here yet. Caps on the flank, though. Delight getting locked up. Caps trying to get in with the tippers. Broken Blade flashes forward with the slicing master, but he can't get off to Peyz. Peanut is low. Chovy will fall. Doran down towards the bottom side will kill off Mickey. Peanut so low, though, and Yike's able to take him out as well. In the end, a 3-for-1 in favor of G2.
Looks like actually only 2 end up dying on the side of Gen.G. But Delight, as you rightly said, able to get away with his life just barely. And the Herald, though, securing the mid-tier 2. Gen.G still hold on to a 3k gold lead. G2 may be able to, or they will be able to secure the Dragon for themselves. But the TP now comes in from Doran.
Doran doesn't have ultimate. He's just going to face tank them. Peyz, of course, can come in with that lightning crash. Could stack up the overcharge. Broken Blade's going to keep him at bay, and although the Dragon will walk its way back to the pit with Caps coming across, you have to feel like Gen.G will give up the ghost on this one. Caps looks for the stun onto Doran. He's down to half HP. Hans Summer puts the feathers down, doesn't yet pull them out, and it seems like G2 will now decide to disengage.
Yeah, nicely done there by G2. I think going to be sad that it is a Chemtech Soul, unfortunately for them. But they do have that 2 Dragon advantage. They are down a bit of gold here, but it is not insurmountable by any means. And again, when you take that Nidalee into consideration, I actually think they're in a pretty solid spot here. Hans having a good game and who never was able to even force out that ult from him. Mickey trying to go here, but it didn't feel like it was really that well coordinated with the team. You know, preemptive play, like if you look at actually where Caps is over here. You can see that Broken Blade hasn't even arrived yet. It was so early. I think he really wanted to try to go before the Herald crashed to try to defend that tier 2, but it just wasn't well organized with the team. They are able to finally chase down and get this kill on Peanut.
Yeah, I would definitely say a very messy fight. The fact that G2 walked away with what they did was definitely an advantage for them, but so much of the map now is still in control of Gen.G. They're doing such a great job of maintaining vision in the river and just making it very difficult for G2 to find any sort of flank. They're like taking a lot of damage, but they should be able to get away to safety. And right now, it's just about Gen.G returning onto the map. You expect them to primarily play towards this bot tower. It's the last neutral objective, really outer tower for them to play for. Broken Blade in a bit of danger right now. Yike is on his way.
Has the blast cone. Slicing Maelstrom used. There's the stun. They're looking to lock up Chovy. He dashes away, but the stun connects again. Then G2 get a kill in the top lane.
Great kill on the top side. Yike moves up there, and it's the anti-timing with the all-out from Chovy as he puts himself low right as Yike blast cones over the wall.
Peyz caught as well. There's the charm, no cleanse. He used it in the last play in mid, but the lightning rush will come out, and G2 start to retreat. They see Peanut waiting in the wings, and they decide they don't want a piece of that action right now. But Peyz does have to burn the ultimate to escape.
You've also got to say, by far the best position for Caps so far in this series. He has 2 kills.
Double move! Delight's so low, the Foundmounty. Yike's going to come in from the side as well. Delight is falling. Peyz locked into the wall. And there's the knock-up with the helicopter as well. Peyz dives in, but the feathers fly. Mickey picks up a double.
Huge kills there from G2, getting another couple back. They're now down only 1.5k here. G2 showing signs of life in this series. You know, really battling back strong here. It's such a bounce-back game from Hans and Mickey, and I cannot overstate how impressed I am from that. To get demolished like they did in the last game, and to not just roll over or die in this series, to come back and just fight straight up, picking Xayah Rakan, laning really well, getting pressure, forcing out those sums from Peyz constantly in lane, and now showing up for these 5v5s.
I mean, Peanut's gone deep here. There's a blast code for Broken Blade, but you can't get away from the steadfast presence. He's stunned up, he's locked up, he was looking to stop the recalls, and his heartbeat is stopped.
Hang on a second, that's a dead jungler. G2, it looks like they're not going to run the risk. I was considering a Baron option. The reality is that Gen.G are making a number of mistakes right now, and this game is very quickly shifting in the momentum of G2. Like, of course, the gold difference is still in Gen.G's favor, but when we look at the gold, as Azael was highlighting earlier, all of the advantage is just sitting on this Nidalee, and it can be difficult to convert those advantages into victories for a team. And Chovy, you said that he hadn't died on this champion. 3 deaths now in this game.
Only died on this champion this game.
Like, it's very uncharacteristic. I think that Chovy has been very overconfident in some of the skirmishes that he's been trying to make happen. And Yike, very present this game. He has been involved in 7 of the team's 8 kills. But let's see if G2 can maintain this momentum as Chovy has found another fight.
Peanut's on its way, the slicing mouse is being used. You can see Yike trying to distract Delight and Peyz down towards the bottom side, but Broken Blade has definitely overstayed in the top lane. Peanut will take him out, he'll shut him down. Yike was able to walk away, the TP invested as well by Caps to make sure his jungler could get to safety.
And we talk about oversteps, now we see G2 making the same kind of mistake. An easy collapse from Gen.G in the top side. Of course, Doran did commit the teleport to create this flank happening, but when other members were like resetting on the map, oh, hang on, they are actually just going to start this one off.
This is like the T1 special. They've had this done to them. Now they're going to try to look to do it in their turn.
Oh, great steadfast presence into the copter, knocks the light away, but Yike is still in the midst of 3 members of Gen.G. They're going to try and chase him down. Caps trying to keep them at bay. Mickey fighting Chovy up towards the top side as Hansama keeps that battle continuing. Seismic shard into the spear, but Yike dodges to the side. The red buff, the molten shield, the steadfast presence. The flash in the end will get enough, but Gen.G have invested so much into trying to kill the Poppy, and G2 pounce.
The rookie from Europe comes up clutch. He dances Gen.G into death as they punish the overextension, and G2 finally come alive in this series.
What an overforce by Gen.G. I mean, they look for the flash engage from Delight onto Yike. He easily pops the W, interrupts that, then Doran full whiff on the Malphite ult. They're just gonna go straight to this Baron. It is warded, but can they even do anything about it? I don't think so.
We've seen Gen.G get out of trickier spots in the past. Mickey jumps across the wall, as you say, vision on it. Chovy not spotted yet, has that all out, has the flash. Seen on a ward as he comes around the corner. Broken Blade, Mickey and Hansama. It looks like this is just going to be G2 securing the Baron. The Dragon available to them if they can get down there in time.
Gen.G pinging the Dragon. They've acknowledged that they can't secure this. Yike back out on the map first. The Baron has been secured for G2. Yike needs to be so careful now. He is isolated.
It's so good. Almost blast cones Yike back into the entirety of Gen.G. And I don't think Yike would have been able to slip his way away from that situation.
Yeah, I mean, Gen.G gonna get a Dragon back, and of course, because of the class of this team and because of how the series has gone, you're still gonna be nervous. You're still gonna think Gen.G could battle back. But I gotta say, if you have nameplates off, you give this to G2's side like 90-10 with the compositions, with the Dragon lead, with the Baron buff. They're in such a good spot. Great rejection there. Then the sidestep.
Oh my word, Yike.
Doran just didn't expect it. Full whiff there with the ulti. The laser doesn't even tag him from Peyz. I just can't believe they continued chasing into the tower.
They were like, we just need one more hit.
This is insanity to me. They're all going for it. Peanut flashes in, gets stunned up again. Then Caps arrive. Doran has to flash in. They're trying to look for a dive, but that is not going to work. Malphite too tanky.
Wow. Huge props to Yike. You talked last game about Peyz making his debut on the international stage. Yike, I don't think he had a bad game 1 or game 2, but game 3 is really where we're feeling his presence. G2 will unlock another tower on the map as Caps goes to answer Chovy in a side lane. Let's see if G2 can use this Baron to really do some damage to the structures of Gen.G. They have been commanding in this series, and as you rightly said, Azael, until you see G2 knocking on the Nexus, you're always going to believe that Gen.G can find a way back into this game. But right now, G2 are looking good.
I just don't know how Nidalee actually plays the game in 5v5s. I think it's incredibly difficult. You know, when there's so much CC and AoE damage on the other side. Peanut caught again.
But this, you still have the damage out, double force across the wall, and there's the Magnet Storm as well. Slicing Maelstrom has been used, but Peanut pops the stopwatch. Mickey down already. Peyz takes 1, that's 2. And Gen.G just ripped through the heart of G2.
It's just overextension after overextension on both sides, and Han's now in a lot of trouble here. He does have the ghost, he does have the ulti. And we'll be able to walk it out, but Chovy's coming.
Chovy has the all-out. Hansama can flash the wall to try and get away. Dodges the spear, but Delight's looking for more. Feather Storm. Hansama will escape one more. Oh, no! Not quite enough with the deadly plumage to kill off Delight.
And you have to question what the game plan was there for G2, even if they want to force that. It was so disjointed. You had Yike and Mickey engaging the fight, to then Broken Blade come in after. He also invested the flash, and that Baron power play was a 1.5k gold advantage. They then threw that away and gave Gen.G a very clear avenue back into this game.
I mean, it's one of those things where you can just see, you know, that where The excitement of the moment is really getting them. They see that they can catch Peanut out, but look where your carries are. They're not even close. You know, Broken Blade is still a mile away. Hans is not even close to arriving. You know, it's one of those things you've got to be on the same page. This did happen to them around that mid lane where Miky went a little bit early there too. This time it was Yike going in. It's Miky trying to follow up, but you need to have the damage there. You cannot give Gen.G ways back into this series. You cannot give them ways back into this game.
It does feel like G2 are making some very nerve-wracking plays.
There's no damage, again.
Well, they have
Chovy, they're just trying to keep him, you know, CC'd for as long as possible. There's the quickness as well. Hans Summer now joins. Another knockup goes out. The all-out used across the wall as Chovy tries to retreat. Hans Summer looking for the root but can't quite find it. And in the end, Chovy able to walk out of the gank from G2.
I mean, the good news for G2 is there's not really much on the map for Gen.G to cross-map with. G2 have to be careful about overextending in the top side. Caps can be left isolated here. You'll notice Gen.G pushing in that mid-wave. I think Peanut just stole away the Raptor camps once more. But overall, it was just an opportunity for G2. They tried to punish Chovy. It only really cost him his ultimate.
Yeah, he gets a couple ults off the enemy team, gets the Ignite off Miky, does spend the ult of his own. He is getting very, very tanky. He has that Force of Nature now, is working towards what is very likely Gargoyle Stoneplate, and that is where it gets so hard to actually take this guy down, because he can get in the middle of the team, get that massive shield to keep him alive. So we'll see what G2 want to do next. I'd like to see them continue setting up around these neutral objectives, looking to play around those dragons. You have such an advantage playing around those neutrals with Yike, but it's going to be Chovy just TPing to safety.
Gets him out. There's the counter TP as G2 look to collapse down towards this bottom side. Gen.G nowhere near close enough to react. The steadfast presence coming out as well. Pathmaker held, dodges away from the knockup, but still gets stunned, and Chovy will fall. Gen.G now looking to pincer in, but they retreat as soon as they realize their mid laner has gone down.
That was 5 bot for Chovy there. He goes down, and because he died, the dragon, he's not going to be there at the dragon spawn. He's not going to have TP as well because he spent that, so G2 going to be able to get this bot push, threaten this tier 2. They're going to potentially threaten a dive.
G2 still have all of their ultimates as well. They didn't invest any of those into killing Chovy. The tier 2 in the bot lane will fall. Gen.G can still rely on Peyz. He is even on gold with Hans Summer, basically, but they're retreating. They don't think they can defend without their mid laner. Peanut was doing the razor beaks. And now with 11 seconds up on the next Drake of the game, it would be soul point for G2, as you said earlier, Azael. It's only a chem soul, not the most powerful, but still something you want.
The biggest thing that G2 have to be concerned about right now is that Baron spawns in 30 seconds. Committing to this dragon means that how much are you going to give up on the map in exchange? And if Gen.G can just force a couple backs or get a good trade hit, a Baron is on the cards.
Dragon taken. Broken Blade looking for that glass cone. You get so far with those mega cones. Gen.G retreating for the moment. Yike in the pit can flash the wall. They know where Broken Blade is. He's marked by Chovy now. Caps looking for the flank position as well. He's not on vision. Flash away from the unstoppable force. G2 now disengage.
But soul point for G2. Going to be feeling really good about that. Yike poking and prodding here. It's the ulti from Doran to actually force that flash, so that is a fine trade, but it's soul point for G2. They're still in the lead as far as gold advantage, and they're still in the lead, I think, as far as composition, and Doran has no ult to escape.
Yeah, he's going to knock him into the wall. Hans Summer's going to try and shred through him. The last whiff already complete, and Doran already down, but the gargoyles caging for the moment. Caps getting onto the backline to cleanse away from Peyz. He dashes across the wall, but Broken Blade is looking to lock him down, and Peyz is out of the fight. The Magnet Storm perfect, but the Feather Storm equally so. A double for Hans Summer, and G2 breathe life into Europe.
G2 are going off in this third game, battling back in such a massive way here. Hans deathless, Caps deathless. The G2 carries have come alive and are now pushing in the base. They'll claim their first inhibitor of the series here, looking to be in prime position to take a game off of Gen.G.
G2, while it hasn't been the cleanest of games, have very well bought themselves enough time to stay alive in this series.
Peanut's just gonna die. The hammer's come down. Broken Blade looking for the shook, and Peanut with a great dodge away.
They can't overstay now. They need to back because Baron is up and alive, and the rest of the Gen.G members are respawning. The only good news for G2 is Peanut has to reset himself. Let's look back at this fight. Just great awareness here from G2. They realized that some of the members of Gen.G have gone back to base. The ultimate already used from the Malphite meant that G2 could get this collapse. And look, he buys so much time, but the rest of Gen.G can't really respond. Caps tunnels onto Peyz, forcing him out of the fight. And with Peyz gone, there's just not enough damage.
Absolutely, and Broken Blade having that TP coming in, was already over the wall where Peyz goes. He gets the wraparound, finishes him off. And when we were talking about it in the draft, I pointed out, this is basically like a one damage source team over on Gen.G. When you're getting to the later stages, it's really all about Peyz, which did not seem like a concern at the time because of how well he'd been playing. But he has been put down. He is behind Hansama, and he is not at that point where he can really just completely 1v9 a game. He just is not doing the damage to knock through these frontliners fast.
The biggest differences we've seen is that Peyz is being controlled and Chovy isn't dominating the matchup.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force. Hansama has the Feather Storm. They're going in with the Magnet Storm as well. Hansama able to retreat from it. Delight knocked away from the team, but the lightning crashes into the slicing Maelstrom. Doran already down. Chovy trying to distract the rest of G2. The feathers are pulled back, and Chovy will kill off Hansama now.
Peyz now.
At 4v3 as Peyz begins to open up, and he's locked up, he's stunned up, he's shut down by G2. Delight dashes across the wall. Yike continues to chase him away.
The team fights are just too difficult for Gen.G to play. The damage is relentless, and the combination of Broken Blade and Yike creates so much chaos for Gen.G.
They want to end. They're going
G2
bot.
win, and they're looking to end the game.
And G2 do it without their AD carry. The inhibitor still down for the next 3 minutes, but Chovy's up in 20, Peyz is up in 28, Doran's up soon as well. Delight and Peanut are going to try and keep the wave, but with Tibbers pushing in and the super minions doing so as well. G2 begin to open up on the Nexus towers. Delight will fall down towards the bottom side. Peanut relegated to his fountain. And in their moment, oh so dark, G2 find a glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel. But instead, Gen.G want to shut that light down as Chovy goes forward. Mickey looking for the Nexus. G2, what a way to end it.
G2 will not be stomped in this series. They will ignite the fans here in London, and the confidence can start to come back.
Yeah, G2 coming alive in this series, and so is the London crowd here. Loving the fact that G2 are able to bounce back after that second game. They were decimated, and it felt like, just looking at their faces, we were talking, it looked like they were dejected, it looked like they were potentially out of this. But I have got to give so much credit to the G2 bot lane. To me, this game was really so much about them, about their ability to actually be in this great spot, to constantly force summoners out of Peyz, to keep Peyz back, who was that kind of Soul Wink edition, to have such a stable lane. Hans only died one time in this entire game, and that was after everyone is getting wiped on the other side.
I mean, for me, it was Yike. Like, his impact in the fights was incredible. For the young rookie to have such presence in so many of the picks and the plays, I thought was instrumental, and I hope that we can continue to see his impact in the game.
And especially since he was really far behind. He was like half CS, level 4 to the level 6, coming out from Peanut. Thankfully, not the quickest best of 5 ever anymore as G2 pick up a win, so we continue along with our series. Of course, the loser of this does go into a loser's bracket, a lower bracket, so even if G2 do end up losing this series, they will not be knocked out of MSI.
And what I will say is that when we still look at how the map was played, this was Gen.G making uncharacteristic mistakes, right? They got picked a lot. They still had the gold lead for the majority of this game. While a lot of that did sit on Peanut, G2 couldn't really convert that. And they didn't really build an early game lead, And so while I think that this was a big game and a much needed win, obviously, for G2, it's still a long road to walk.
Yeah, it really is. We're going to hand it over to the analyst.